What is up, everybody, and welcome to the 8th episode of the Three Cone Podcast. I'm your host, Riley Bymaster, here along with my fellow co-host, Matt Foreman. Matt, what's up, man?
Not too much, Riley. How you doing tonight?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm somewhat missing our third co-host, but then again, not really.
Yeah, Brett, we love you.
But then again, no.
Brett, I love you.
It's a love-hate kind of thing. He's the middle child. The middle child gets on everybody's nerves, and he just pesters, and there's not much else to say. But shout out to Brett, who's probably not going to listen to this because he's not on it. But anyways, or he's crying about his bills. One of the two. So tonight we have two very special guests close to our heart. Maybe. Kyle Labreck and Zach Reed from the Dynasty Dummies pod. What's up, boys?
How's it going?
It's going great. I think you guys are our second guests on the show, and probably our best one because Jason wasn't that great.
He was pretty drunk. All right, cut him some slack.
He wasn't fully there. I'll be honest.
But is he? But is he really ever fully there?
True. So I don't know. You can't say much about it.
We usually go by height.
We do go by height. That's true.
That was a shot at me.
Well, hey, if Brett was here, he'd still lose this conversation. So Kyle and Zach, you guys are hosts of the Dynasty Dummies pod. One of the things that we talked about on, I think it was our first episode, we said we were going to have guests on to talk with us who we felt were very undervalued in the Dynasty community. And obviously we think you guys don't get enough listens. Not enough people listen to you guys. So here you are. You guys are talking in front of all of our 7 or 8 listeners. So we're going to hopefully get you 5 or 6 more after tonight. So real quick, we'll go ahead and we'll jump into our only news and notes segment. Tyrod Taylor is officially the backup quarterback for the Buffalo Bills after the blowout from the Saints. Nate Peterman is said to be starting. Matt, we'll start with you. Are we pretty sure that Tyrod's days are numbered in Buffalo?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
No one hates Tyrod Taylor as much as Terry Pagula hates Tyrod Taylor.
I don't get it because I think Tyrod's a decent quarterback. I don't think
all
he's
the
that
metrics
bad.
and all the numbers say he's a decent quarterback.
They just hate him, and I don't get it.
Oh, this is just such a Bills thing, man. I mean, this is what they do. You got 2 quarterbacks, so why ruin just one? That's what they do.
And I don't know. It seems like we've seen this coming for a really long time, but then when Tyrod plays, he plays well. So they're forced to start him. And I think they're just looking for reasons to bench him. And after the blowout, I think that was it. So are we excited about Nate Peterman? Do we think he has a shot at being the future or not at all?
No.
Okay. I see. I'm not. What are you doing with Peterman in Dynasty right now? Specifically in Superflex. Kyle, are you buying him or selling him?
I don't know that I want to go out and buy him. That whole offense just seems like such a mess right now that I don't know that I really want to buy into any of those pieces. Even McCoy is kind of scary. Yeah, I don't want to buy any of them.
I think McCoy is getting old. I think his touches are starting to pile up on him, and I could very easily see them taking a running back pretty early next year.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. I mean, especially they let go Jonathan Williams there. Who's behind McCoy?
Mike Tolbert.
Yeah, a bunch of fullbacks.
Yeah, like 5 fullbacks.
Yeah,
Tolbert, Patrick DeMarco. I think we talked about this not too long ago.
Yeah.
So even if
Bills way too much,
even if McCoy does come back to full strength next year, they still got to bring somebody in. So yeah, I mean it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, for sure. And I could easily see them. I see him taking a quarterback round 1 or round 2. I think Brett talked about it a couple weeks ago. He said Mason Rudolph was a name to watch for Buffalo. So I think they let go of Tyrod, and I think he hits the market. What are some spots that we could see Tyrod eventually land this upcoming offseason?
Well, you are going to have a few places that are options. You've got Arizona's most likely going to be looking for a quarterback. Carson's probably done there. I don't think it's overly popular out there, and yet there's these rumblings out there that the Giants might be looking for somebody. So you do have a number of pieces out there. The Ben Roethlisberger news or rumors out there. He's definitely a possibility to retire.
Maybe Jacksonville.
I was just going to say that I would love to see him in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think that a mobile quarterback gives a little bit more flexibility to that running game where it's not necessarily just Fournette that you can key on. Plus, they have a great defense, so you're limiting, what he has to do with his arm. Kind of what they're doing in Buffalo, where they're not making him throw it 40 times a game. He can be pretty decent in short spurts, and he's got a pretty good deep ball. So, combine that with a good running game, that's not a bad place.
So I do like the Jacksonville call for the offense, but does it not kind of feel like they're actually maybe getting comfortable with Bortles now?
I don't think so.
I know
I don't think
none of us in the fantasy community like that. But if we look at it from the real world, it seems like they're starting to get comfortable with that.
He just looks so like he backed his way into a win last week.
Is it because they're winning? Do you think that's a possibility?
I think they're winning in spite of him, not because of him.
Hey, winning cures everything. I mean, you know what? We talked about this on the podcast yesterday with Minnesota. They're probably not. I hate to admit, Zach's probably right. They're probably not going to bring Teddy in anytime soon, as long as Case keeps winning.
No, I think he's a shot to come in this week.
I think
that hook is so short.
I don't, and the reason why is they're winning, and they're not only right now looking at a playoff berth, but they're looking at potentially home field advantage. They're looking at potentially a Super Bowl run with Keenum, and you don't in athletics you don't change what's working in midstream. Now, if there's a tailspin, fine, I see that, but you're not right now. They're sitting in the catbird seat.
Just from reading the things I was reading online this week, it seems like Zimmer was thinking about putting in Teddy this week already. He said, but he couldn't go against Keenum. I don't know. I think we see Bridgewater. I think if we see one mediocre game from Case, I think he's done.
See, and that's where I think Zimmer has to know his personnel. So if you pay attention, we all know that Keenum is notorious for heating up as he goes. He doesn't jump in and throw 3 touchdowns in the first quarter. Now, if he throws 3 picks in the first quarter, yeah, sure, then yank him and put Teddy in and see what he can do, because obviously Teddy's a check down guy. But I think Keenum's always been a guy who gets better as he goes. So I hope the leash isn't too short, because they're 7-2 right now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And they've been rolling with Keenum for 8 of those games. So I don't know why they would put Teddy in super early, but you never know.
But yeah, I think you're going to get some of that effect there with Jacksonville if they keep winning throughout the rest of this year. I don't know that they just. What's the contract status of Bortles? Does anyone know off the top of their head?
Nothing. He's a free agent at the end of the season.
Okay.
I think it's the same as Bridgewater's. I think they did not pick up the option.
So I mean, that definitely does open up some options, but I don't know. Like I said, if they keep winning out, the devil right?
See, and I think to some extent you can hide him, but eventually your weaknesses are going to show, and I think that really happens in the playoffs. Like this past week when they were playing the Chargers, they had the ball, and then both teams threw a pick when they shouldn't have with like a minute left, and Bortles just completely missed his target and overthrew. I can't remember who it was. It was Marquise Lee was out of the game, but it was
probably Keelan Cole.
It was either Cole or Jordan Mickens. That was the name I couldn't think of. Exactly. We're really hoping Dede Westbrook comes back.
No, he didn't get hurt. Hearns got hurt. Hearns got hurt. Yeah, Hearns got hurt.
Anyways, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
is it time for A-Rob to come back yet? I need that back in my life.
But not in Jacksonville, though. Not in Jacksonville.
I don't care where. I just need him back on the field somewhere.
Throw him another quarterback. I don't mind him in Jacksonville.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we kind of established that Jacksonville and potentially Arizona.
I think two other spots that with older quarterbacks, I don't know if they'd move on from them, would be New Orleans and San Diego.
I do think San Diego's a possibility. There's
Los Angeles.
No, yeah.
Los Angeles.
Wow, you're probably right into that one. Wow, they should
The
be
Chargers.
in San Diego still.
The Chargers.
Yeah, they should still be in San Diego. So we'll let that one slide. But I think Philip Rivers is a sneaky. He could probably walk away sooner than later. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know that he's going to be around for a long term like some of these other guys that we've seen.
And it's so weird because all three of Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, and Philip Rivers all seem to just kind of hit a little mini cliff. And it seemed like one day they were here, and then now it's Ben doesn't believe in himself. Eli flat sucks, and Rivers is getting hurt like he never did.
Well, and Rivers has a family, and he seems like kind of a family guy. Like he's probably going to walk away.
Doesn't he have like 9 kids?
Yeah, he has like 9 kids.
Yeah, he's got a bunch.
He's going to want to walk
I
away.
was gonna say, I know, Riley, that you're not old enough to rent a car, but age catches up with you at some point, and you just, there is a cliff, and the guys who we get so fascinated and focused on the guys like Brady and Brees who kind of are the aberrations, but really there's a nosedive at like 36, 37. That's a when I get to you guys' age, that I'll really start to feel it, huh? Well, practically dead, yeah.
So
you'll actually be tired right about now instead of just getting about that bar time.
So that means dinner at 3:30, bedtime at 6.
Yeah.
Blue plate special, man.
Gotcha.
It's cheaper then sometimes.
All right, so with that, that kind of leads us into our main topic tonight. And if you listened last week, me, Brett, and Matt, we discussed our top 12 dynasty quarterbacks. And this week, the 4 of us are going to discuss our top 12 dynasty running backs. We talked about it before the show. We kind of got a little sneak peek preview of each other's rankings, and they're different. And I cannot wait to talk about it. I'm pretty sure only one 2018 prospect will be included. Maybe not.
Are we including 2018?
I think so. I think we have to because he's basically Jesus.
You just want to stick him in there already.
I think we can.
He's on my list. I got him on my list.
I want to put him in. I want to put him in right now.
None of you guys like him as much as I do. He is the background on my cell phone.
Prove it. Prove it right now. He really is. Hey, do you have a Barkley poster on your ceiling above your bed?
Oh, now we're getting intimate.
No, my wife has a Saquon Barkley mask though, but we won't get into that.
I didn't want to know that.
Does she let you call her Saquon?
No, she calls me Saquon.
Oh. So with that is going to segue us into. We'll just jump right into number 1. So we're just going to go through, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., and we'll just bounce around to each person, and each guy will give their spew on who they have at number 1. So let's start this out with Zach. Who is your number 1 dynasty running back right now if you're in a startup draft for this offseason?
Now, it's Todd Gurley. And I love the way their offense is looking. I was not a Goff believer, but I'm coming around. He's done an awful lot this year, and the next 4 games are really going to be the test for him to prove that he's that top-notch quarterback. But I love what he's done, and I love, more to the point, the way McVay has used Todd Gurley. Kyle and I the last couple of years have been lamenting Jeff Fisher not throwing Gurley the ball, because most of the dynasty leagues we play in are PPR. And so that's where you make your bones. If you're going to be a dynamic number 1 running back, you've got to not only, run between the tackles, but you've also got to catch the ball. And now Gurley's doing that. And I love it. That's where I'm at.
Yep, I like it. We'll go to Since you mentioned two of Matt's favorite players, we'll jump to Matt here. Matt, who is your number one running back?
Le'Veon Bell.
Ooh.
Explain, big boy.
For the reasons Zach just said, PPR leagues, I think he's the best all-around running back in the NFL. I am a little concerned with Roethlisberger. They may not have a signal caller of the future, but I think their line has finally gelled. I like the weapons around him with Juju coming on, Antonio, and whatever happens with Martavis. So and he catches tons of passes.
So you're assuming he's going to sign in Pittsburgh. You're thinking they're either going to franchise him again or re-sign?
I think they re-sign him.
So I'm that's part of the reason why I'm hesitant on Le'Veon.
I can't see them letting him walk because Antonio is getting older. Ben is a year or two away from retiring. I don't see how you let your franchise player walk away.
Here's the issue with him re-signing, and it's a simple math equation. You've got, how old is he? Anyone?
I think he's probably 25.
25. I found it. You've got a guy. He's in his prime right now for a running back. If you were going to sign him, you would have done it last year. You don't take a guy and sign him. You don't franchise him, pay him a bunch of money, and then sign him the next year into a long-term contract. And he wants a long-term contract. You're not going to sign a 26-year-old running back into a prime contract if you franchised him last year. The year to do that, the year to sign him was last year. That way you're spreading out that money. You don't spend all of that money in a franchise. I don't think look, if they do re-sign him, it's a very poor management of cap.
Yeah, and that's all it is. To me, it's not a question of talent. Le'Veon Bell is immensely talented. But right now, he's immensely talented behind that Pittsburgh line. And his running style is so much different than anybody else in the NFL. It takes a little time to gel. He's so patient. And the way they open holes for him is totally different than a lot of other runners. So,
I think there's other great opportunities for him. I mean, I think there's a place he could go to where he could be immensely successful as well too. So I don't want to pigeonhole him that he's only good successful in Pittsburgh, but obviously Pittsburgh would probably be the best spot for him. But I still think he's a talent to be the number one over running back in many places.
He's definitely a talented guy. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've got him 4, 3, 4 kind of interchangeable for me. So I don't hate Le'Veon Bell. I don't think he stays in Pittsburgh. I think that offensive line does him some favors. That whole offense does him some favors. And he scares me. I know he's been clean this year and we haven't had any of that, but that stuff's still out there. Every year he's been banged up. And I'm not going to knock on the desk here because then you'll hear it through the mic, but knock on wood, he's going to make it through the rest of this year healthy. But every year with him, we've had some kind of a knee injury or something. So
yeah,
that's always back there. I guess call me risk adverse. Zach said Gurley earlier. That's my 101 now on the running back. He just seems like the safest guy. Talent.
Where was Gurley at before the season started for you guys? I'm just curious.
4.
Yeah, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
He was in that.
We've always really loved him. It was just a matter of situation. Sorry, Riley, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. I was just going to say he was in that, for me, he was in that next tier right below the top 3.
Yeah.
So
we never,
because there was startups this year. He was going in the beginning of the 3rd round, which I thought was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
It's insane now for sure.
It was insane then. Yeah. It was insane then.
I got you. Well, Kyle kind of touched on his. I believe he said Gurley was also one for him.
Gurley's my guy. Yep.
Gurley's yours, and then also my number 1 is also Gurley. So McVay changes everything.
Mm-hmm. So Gurley wins that round. Is that
Gurley wins? Gurley wins is number 1.
Do we get a point? This is a game, right?
Sure.
Oh no, you're really doing that.
You guys know what the funny thing is? I'm the only person here who has 2 Todd Gurley jerseys, and I did not have as my 101.
I just wanted the point. That was all.
All right, Kyle has 1 point. I'll keep that updated after every round. So we'll jump to number 2. We will start with Matt this round. Matt, who is your number 2 running back?
DJ.
DJ, solid. Are you worried at all about after Carson Palmer dies? Are you worried that defenses are just going to stack the box and just focus on him? Haven't they been doing
the last 3 years anyways?
You could say that. I don't know. I'm kind of hesitant. I'm hesitant on DJ because I don't know if Blaine Gabbert or Drew Stanton's the quarterback or some rookie gets thrown into the fire next season.
But is that really that much of a downgrade? I think your concern should be more about what happens with their passing offense with their receivers more than their quarterback, because Carson Palmer has done little to nothing the last 3 years he's been there.
Yeah, I mean Palmer's been okay. I mean he's definitely been better than Stanton or Gabbert, who we may see in the next couple of weeks, but I don't know.
I'm gonna ride into Matt's defense. I've got DJ number 2 also.
Yeah, DJ too.
And I think that there's been the knee injury and there's been Palmer's wrapping up his career, but I do think you're going to see them sign a free agent who is a legitimate quarterback, and then also draft somebody to kind of groom behind, and so you have a stopgap. And I think that with a stopgap quarterback, you're going to have enough of a passing offense, to get a little bit of breathing room for DJ, but you're going to lean heavily on David Johnson, both in the rushing and the passing game. And so for me, he comes back as that 2.
I think another thing you have to be concerned about with DJ is Bruce Arians. I mean, his health he's talked about his health the last couple of years. I mean, if Arians leaves, who knows where that offense is going to go. So I would love to see a guy. I'd love to see if Palmer retires at the end of the year. And I know he's always been injury riddled, but I would love to. Bradford would be a great stopgap guy there for a year or 2.
Yeah, you could see that.
Yeah, pretty much anybody. To be honest, right now anybody sounds good. Kyle, we'll jump to you. Who's your number 2?
Well, it's DJ. Let's keep that part simple. But
another point for Kyle.
Point for me, right? Zach, we talked about this a while back about all the upcoming free agent quarterbacks. I know you don't have the list in front of you, but do you remember some of those names? I know.
Well, it was
Breeze
we talked about it. Breeze was on there. Stafford was on there, but he's re-signed. I mean, there's not quite the class of quarterbacks that there were, back when we were talking, because some of the pieces have already fallen into place. Breeze is the big one. And I don't have the list right off the top of my head.
Yeah, I know. There was a bunch of names in there. Yeah. So
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins is one. Yeah, obviously Tyrod. We talked about that. The 3 guys in Minnesota, they don't have a quarterback under contract next year.
And I think Bridgewater, Keenum, those guys obviously are there. And then there's one more, and I'm forgetting him. But yeah, those are. I would love to see Cousins. You're going to have I think that'd be a good spot.
You're going to have a lot of these different options as possibilities in Arizona. So I don't know that we need to be terrified of not having a quarterback there. So yeah, DJ is the guy. I mean, the concerns are there, but realistically, these next 3 guys all have big red flags for me. And I don't love it. This is kind of that area that if I value-wise, it's right, but they're not the guys I actually want to go get. I want to only get them to trade them away. But yeah, I mean, you've got such a multifaceted attack with DJ that, the passing game and the running game, and he does need a quarterback to succeed. He is going to need something there to succeed because so much of his game is in the passing game. But again, I find it hard to believe they're not going to get one of these free agent quarterbacks out there. So give me DJ there too.
And they probably will. But I mean, we won't know that for another 4 to 5 months. So I guess I lose this round because I have Le'Veon Bell at number 2. So I guess take away a point from me and give it to Kyle. So he has 3 now.
He's running away with this.
I'm shooting up the board here.
He's basically Carson Wentz. He's just
yeah, and I guess I'll go ahead and say DJ's my 3, and I just prefer Bell to DJ right now, just because I think Bell's a slightly better overall player, and I don't see Pittsburgh letting him walk. I think somehow they'll waste money and they'll re-sign him. But I like him in Pittsburgh. Hopefully they too can kind of find a younger quarterback who can do something. But that's just my reasoning for Bell over DJ. So we'll go to Kyle first on this one. Who is your 3?
I hate to do this, but I can't drop him further than this yet. I want to. I really do.
Did you hear he's not fighting the suspension?
Yeah. So my 3 here is Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, the talent's there. The line is still there. It's not as good as it was last year, but it's still there. The talent's absolutely, without question. It's the red flag that makes you nervous with him, right?
Did you say red flag or red flags?
Okay, red flags.
Gotta be plural. Yeah.
Yeah. There are multiple, and it's terrifying. Again, I said it a moment ago with DJ. These are 3 guys here. I mean, I've already said who my 4 is, so that it's out there. DJ, Zeke, and Bell. I don't really want to own any of them, but it's one of those arguments that I hate with Dynasty. But you have to still value them there because that's what they're going to be valued at. You can go out and get a Zeke and still trade him for guys that you like more later on, and more. So I still got Zeke.
That's a great point. That's why it's so hard for me to do rankings, because half the time I don't want 60% of these players, but they still hold more value than Noah Brown.
Yeah. No,
there's my plug. There's my plug for this week.
Go get him.
If this was a ranking of players I want, these guys would be a lot lower. But I've got to have Zeke there just because of the value.
Yep. Matt, we'll jump to you at who's your number 3?
I have Gurley at 3.
Okay.
I want to put him higher. I want to raise some concerns as a Rams fan here.
Okay. Yeah. Let's hear him.
So I'm still concerned about the line only because of Whitworth's age. Whitworth is 36 years old. I don't know how much time he has left. He has played absolutely phenomenal this year. So I'm a little worried about that. After him, there's not much there. Obviously, I think they're going to be looking for someone maybe in the mid to late rounds this year, someone under the radar. We haven't seen Goff play a good defense. He played Seattle and put up minimal numbers. So, I mean, I want to see this McVay offense against a solid defense, and we're going to see that 3 of the next 4 weeks. I tweeted it out a couple of days ago. They have Minnesota this week, New Orleans the following week. Then they have a easier matchup against Arizona on the road, and then they're playing the Eagles at home. So I want to see this offense. I love Todd Gurley. Don't get me wrong. So he's actually the other lock screen on my phone. So.
All right. Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, that's
those
fair.
are my concerns, and I'm also, like I said, his passing game usage has been really weird this year. The first couple weeks he was killing it, and it's kind of been he's getting a little less targets the past couple weeks. I don't foresee Lance Dunbar as a threat to targets. People that were worried about that were crazy, but
it's because they've all been going to Robert Woods, the true number 1 in that offense. Woods is the new Sammy Watkins, and Watkins is the new Robert Woods.
They're no
Robert Woods was the fastest ball carrier this week.
Wasn't it like 20-something miles an hour? I think I watched that same video.
20.7 or something like that. He was the fastest ball carrier in the NFL this week.
He's fast. He makes fast people look not fast.
Yeah.
Second week in a row, we've referenced that movie. Where are we now? Zach, have we gotten your number 3?
Oh, I got Le'Veon at 3.
You got Love? Okay.
Yeah, to me, there's a full stop here. There's a tier break.
Yep.
But in between my 3 and 4, I've got Saquon Barkley. I do. This is where I've got him. I know. But I think that he's one of those elite, does everything, catches the ball, can run between the tackles, and even blind to where he's going to land. That's sandwiched in between my 3 and 4 right now.
I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah. So I
does
said
that make him your 3 or your 4? I feel like
He's my 4. No, he's after Le'Veon Bell, but before Dalvin Cook is my 4. I've got Saquon Barkley.
so. I guess with that'll segue us right into number 4, and we'll start with Zach.
Yeah, I
So
guess
Zach,
Dalvin.
give it to us. Give us the surprise. Who's your number 4?
Surprise, Dalvin Cook. No, I loved him coming out this year. I loved the landing spot, and I loved what he did in the short sample size that we got. You saw him average 90 yards a game, thereabouts, a couple times. You saw him get 4 looks in each game in the past.
I think we lost him. Oh,
That is up and coming. I think that you see.
See, here's the great thing with Zach. He doesn't even know that he's been cutting out. He's just rolling along with it. He's just keeps going.
I'm sure the points are fantastic.
Yeah, you know, I
can hear you.
I gotta call him out while he can't respond. I feel like he got an extra one in there because he put Barkley in as between his 3 and 4, and then threw Cook in as 4. I don't know what's happening here, but that's like 5 players for 4 spots. I don't know.
You know what? And because of that, we're going to take a point away from Zach and give it to Kyle.
He's trying to take a point right now too.
Am I back yet?
I do think you're back, Zach. You go ahead and finish that point.
So tell us about Dalvin Cook. Your number,
You didn't get any of the Dalvin Cook, huh?
not much. Not much.
We got
All
that
right.
you're trying to sneak an extra player in there.
No. So Dalvin Cook, in the short period of time you got to see him, he averaged almost 90 yards a game on the ground. He was getting 4 to 5 looks in the passing game, and that offense, with Diggs, with Thielen, they're moving the ball. They've got a good defense, and they're obviously building around Dalvin Cook. And so, I loved him coming out of college. I wasn't worried about the combine. I liked the landing spot. I like Dalvin Cook.
Yep, I agree with you. I'm going to jump in and say that Cook is also my number 4. And he actually is my number 4. Like, there's nobody at 3.5. So, even though he tore his ACL this year, I love him. I have no doubts that he's going to be elite and a phenomenal player. And he's probably borderline bottom of the first round startup for me right now. Like, I would take him probably around the 111 area, with no regrets, no concerns. So we'll go and jump to Matt. Matt, who's your number 4?
I have Zeke at 4.
Zeke at 4. It's so weird because Zeke was I was just so used to hearing him, no doubt, top 2, and now especially after this year, finally that he's serving suspension after that freaking roller coaster ride. I don't know. I mean, I think we kind of touched on.
I think there's still value. I think there's still a chance where he's still a value, but where he's getting drafted at right now. I mean, obviously there's a lot of risk, which is what Kyle was talking about. If you're risk adverse, but I mean, if you're okay taking on a little bit of risk, if you already have, if you're on a team that maybe already has a Bell or a Gurley or a DJ, and you're looking for that piece to take you over an edge, and you can throw some pieces together, I mean, and you might be killing your depth a little bit, but I mean, if you can make that move, I mean, why not? I mean, I did that in a league this year. I moved some pieces and acquired Le'Veon Bell in a league I already had Gurley, so.
Yeah, no, I definitely like that because you're getting potentially two top tier guys, and one being a safer and one being a little riskier like Zeke now. So Kyle, who's your number 4?
My number 4, I mentioned it earlier. It's Le'Veon Bell. So I think I've beaten him up enough already here. I do like that point you just made, though, Matt, about if you do happen to luck yourself into a couple of studs, having one that's riskier isn't as painful. Because there's that zero running back philosophy out there, right? Well, it doesn't have to be. Some of those principles can still apply even if you end up with a stud running back. So even if you end up with a Gurley and Zeke mix and you lose Zeke for the second half of the year, you can churn in some RB2s in there. So Yeah, it's not as scary if it's your second running back.
Yep, I like that a lot. Matt, did we get to your number 4?
Yeah, it was Zeke.
It was Zeke. We just said that. I
Another
really
point
need
for Kyle.
another point for Kyle. I really need to be keeping track. So I think we've covered 4 now.
You know what it is. It's
I'm a bad
because
host.
Zach threw in 5 players in 4 spots.
It's throwing me off, man.
It
We go by
you know,
height. It's
it threw
okay.
everything off.
So I believe that takes us to 5. And actually, Zach, his number 5 was technically Dalvin Cook. But I don't know. Let's see. Matt, we'll start with you this time. Matt, who's your number 5?
So I thought we were putting 2018 guys in here. So I have Barkley at 5.
No, hey, that's fine. I put Barkley in.
So
You know
I
what?
put Barkley.
I am going to make an official ruling. Zach, Cook is your number 5. So everyone else can put Barkley in there as an actual player.
So I have Barkley at 5. Let me do something here that I don't normally do, and I'm gonna throw some Saquon Barkley shade out there. I feel like he tries to be Le'Veon Bell too much sometimes. I feel like he's being too creative sometimes. Obviously, if you watch a Penn State game, he's being met in the backfield 2 to 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. I think the hurdling is he's going to try and do that in the NFL, and he's going to get the daylights kicked out of he's just going to get his world rocked one of these times. He's going to do that. A guy's going to dip on him, and they're just going to stay high, and they're just going to rock his world. So, and before this year, he was picking up these little injuries with ankle and knee. I think those are a little concerning. We haven't seen those as much this year, but I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the guy. I think he's an immense talent. I think he could surpass. I think he could get on this. I think he could get on the top 4 level if he goes to the right. If he goes to the right team like Zeke did, he was automatically a top 5 guy. So I think his landing spot's obviously going to be huge, but I think those are some things. If you're all sunshine and rainbows with Barkley, those are a couple things that you may have to be aware of as someone who's literally watched every Penn State snap this year.
Okay, so I have a situation for you. Let's say Cleveland does end up with the number 1 pick, and they do not trade out of it, and they take Barkley number 1. Is he still this high for you?
Yes.
Yep, I agree.
I don't think it's a. Why is Cleveland a bad spot? I mean, they're a bad franchise, but I don't feel that they're a bad landing spot.
No, I agree with you. I was just I should have asked. Is there a team that would drop him for you if he landed somewhere?
The Giants.
Really, I kind of I wouldn't mind the Giants.
Their offensive line is basically Penn State's offensive line in the NFL. That line is awful.
Yeah, I mean, true, but you have to think they build it to some extent.
But how are they going to sign free agents? I mean, they're using the top 5 pick on a running back.
Yeah, I don't know.
I understand you can find offensive line talent outside the top 5, but
no, yeah, I got you. All right, so
I don't know if he dropped very far from there, but I feel like he wouldn't be a slam dunk top 5 dynasty running back for me then.
Right, not like Zeke was coming out. Gotcha. Yeah, Barkley's also my 5, so I'm kind of right there with you guys. I don't have.
If Le'Veon Bell doesn't get re-signed and he goes to Pittsburgh, oh man, that would just be money right there.
Sub him right in for Bell.
But I mean, there's no way he makes it to Pittsburgh's draft spot. So
right, unless they trade the farm, and they're not going to do that.
No.
Yeah, so Barkley's my 5. You kind of covered everything that, even my little nitpicking concerns, and everybody knows the positives. So Zach, Cook is your 5. Cook's your 5. Kyle.
Zeke, I was gonna say I got Zeke. We can just keep going.
Hey, I get to get a 5 in here before you do your 6.
Kyle gets a 5.
My 5.
Who makes these rules?
Nobody said this yet. I got Fournette.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's got to be a point away. That's a point going back to Zach.
Really? Nobody likes Fournette, huh? I think we've seen so much out of him already at the beginning of this season, and you know It is. It's a small sample size, but there's just really been nothing to dislike. And you're seeing it happen on a bad team. You're seeing him make a bad team not that bad. I mean, the defense is a big part of that, yes, but he is
on offense.
Yeah, he is carrying that offense, and so that's the concern. You just kind of brought that up with the Browns and Barkley. That is a concern. Everyone was excited about Crowell, and maybe Crowell isn't as good as we were hoping for, but bad offense. Okay, Gurley with the Rams last year. Bad offenses can bring a good running back down. Well, Fournette went out there and just took that team on his shoulders and ran away with it, and he is just a beast. So yeah, give me him at 5.
That's actually not a bad point. I hadn't thought about that. Everybody should know that I'm usually a Fournette hater, but I'm trying to think now. What if they actually have a good quarterback who has the ability to take the tops off of the defense, and they're not necessarily putting 7 or 8 guys in the box? So,
but then are they necessarily running it with Fournette 20, 25 times a game? I mean, Fournette's fine. I like him as a running back, but I don't think he gives the versatility. I'm going to throw a little bit of cold water right now. Alvin Kamara, Carlos Hyde, Christian McCaffrey, and Chris Thompson are all ahead of Fournette in PPR.
Oh, you're just being a hater.
I am.
Fournette is
point for Zach.
Sneaky.
Point for Zach.
Fournette has been sneaky in the passing game. He's had a lot more receptions than I think everyone thought he would at this point.
It's because that's how far Bortles can throw. 6 yards.
Okay. I mean, but he has illustrated the ability to catch now. So even if there is a good quarterback there, that doesn't mean all of a sudden he's not going to get touches. He may just get the touches a little differently.
Or it potentially makes his runs better and longer because not everybody's so close. So give and take. Well, Zach and I will give and take your Fournette love. Doesn't mean we have to like him. But anyways, Matt, who's your 5?
Dude, you are the worst.
Barkley?
I had Barkley at 5.
I just realized it once I asked. Are we done with 5?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna start. Hold on, I'm gonna start keeping up.
Hey Riley,
sorry,
we're on 6.
Thank you.
No problem.
Actually, Kyle's gonna host now. We're at the halfway point. All right, no, we have a list now. We're good. So we are at 6. I'll start because I'm the best host ever. Mine is Zeke. I have Zeke all the way down at 6. I'm very concerned. The off the field stuff is not good. I'm worried about him, and he seems bigger. He doesn't seem as shifty as he was in his first year and a half or his first year. I'm just worried about him.
He's filling out that crop top a little more.
Yeah,
he is.
It's like a muffin top now.
Yeah, exactly.
Crop to muffin. Yeah. But I'm worried about him. This is a no doubter. I would rather have Cook, Barkley over Elliott, and I don't know. I'm not touching him probably until the 301 in a startup. I think I said that on Twitter not too long ago. I'm not touching him until the 3rd round. And
so
just
basically, you're not going to own Zeke anywhere then.
Yeah, probably not. The only place I own him is the Scott Fish Bowl. So redraft.
So does this turn into a Gurley situation where people were taking Gurley in the 3rd round?
No, I think there's a lot more risk with Zeke than there was with Gurley.
So there's definitely a risk there, but I mean, this time last year we were talking about risk with Gurley as far as just being a bad offense. And they didn't really they managed to make that offense better without a lot of capital to go out and do it. So that was kind of surprising.
I just don't foresee that much of a landscape shift between what happened with Gurley in that 1985 offense and what could happen with Zeke.
I know it definitely is a completely different situation. I wonder if we're gonna
and I think
back at this next year this time. And
Zeke's response to this suspension is, I'm going to go somewhere to an undisclosed location outside of the country and work out.
The old Ricky Williams, eh?
Exactly. That's exactly what I tweeted out. I said, what in the Ricky Williams is this garbage? And that's exactly what it reminds me of.
And that's why I'm not touching him until I necessarily have to, and I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Yeah,
But
I am at
that's where I get
Tacit Assassin 13, and I endorse this message.
Point for Zach.
Tactic assassin.
Yeah, no, Tacit, quiet. Shh.
All right, I'll willingly take the loss on that one.
All right, so I'm keeping a checkbox list. So we're going to go to Kyle. Kyle, who is your running back 6?
You sure it's not 5?
I'm 100% positive.
All right, at 6, I have Dalvin Cook. You know, and I've said it a couple times now, but if this was a list of players that I want to have, Cook would be higher here. I do love what we've seen out of him. It was everything we saw in college, and then we kind of lost focus of that with the pre-draft process there and the combine, and he's just come out and shown it all. So yeah, give me Dalvin Cook there, and you know, if this is a list of players that I want, I probably go Gurley, Fournette, Cook.
Okay, so that was going to be my next question. Gun to your head, Zeke or Dalvin?
If it's guy I gotta have on my team, it's Dalvin. But if it's a ranking for a value, I still think that at the end of the day, I still think you're getting more out of trading Zeke right now, even with the suspension, than Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, because you could probably trade Zeke and probably get Cook in a third.
Yeah,
somewhere close to that, and I'd pull the trigger on that.
And that's post suspension.
Every day.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, so that's fair. Zach, who's your number 6?
Well, you already covered. That was Zeke.
That was Zeke. Cool.
Yep.
Check. Matt, who's your number 6?
So I also have Cook at 6.
Okay.
So I got a hypothetical question here for you that I've been sitting on. So I'm in a league. I'm in first place in the league. I have Dalvin Cook. So at the end of the
do not trade him. No. All right, that's my answer.
So you wouldn't trade him. You wouldn't trade him to try and get Barkley in another piece.
Oh, Barkley in
could do
another
that?
piece?
Yeah.
Do you know? How do you know it's going to be Barkley?
I'm gonna wait till after the season's over. To do it.
Yeah, I would rather have Barkley than Cook.
Well, actually, looking at my
Regardless of landing
rankings,
spot.
I would, yeah.
okay, no, looking at I have Cook at 4 and Barkley at 5, so I'm going to stick true to myself, and I'm going to say I'd rather have Cook.
So Kyle, I can see you shaking your head. You tell me why.
I'm staying with Cook. I mean, how often have we seen these prospects come along that we? All right, the last couple have panned out. I know, but that we just surefire #1 talent, and it doesn't always pan out. Zach, you tell me this all the time. You want production that is proven versus a possibility, and I know you are in love with Barkley. I know you're gonna come in and you're gonna say it, but we already know what Cook is.
Yes, ish. I mean, we haven't seen enough of a sample size from Cook for me to say for sure that that's what he is. I mean, I think that's what he is. And my separation between Barkley and Cook is not a lot. I mean, I've got Barkley in that 4, Cook 5. Like, they're right in that tier break. But I still think that the pass catching upside of Barkley eclipses Cook.
Let's just say I can get Barkley and let's see if I can get the 101 and the 301 for Cook. Do you make that trade?
The 101, 301. Yeah, I think I would.
Okay.
I'm staying with no. 301 doesn't do anything for me.
Okay.
Hey, I got Noah Brown at a 301.
Shut up! No one cares about Noah freaking Brown.
I said that purely for
Riley.
everyone's enjoyment.
I told Zach I had to do this, and so since you brought up Noah Brown, I have to do it now. I am very, very, very mad at you.
It's early. It's week 11.
No. I traded away Nelson Aguilar to get a 5th-round pick so I could drive. I do not have Nelson Aguilar on my team right now because of you.
I
almost swore there, so I
love it.
Appreciate me holding that.
I
back.
love it. You will thank me in 2019.
Yeah, when he's a Pro Bowler.
I don't have time to wait till 2019. I'm contending now. I need Nelson Aguilar back on my team now.
I love it. I'm glad I convinced people on Noah though. my sales pitches worked. Everybody bought in. Not everybody, but a lot of people bought in.
Looking at this guy right here, did not buy in.
I don't care. Noah from
He was like the third best receiver on his college team.
Behind who?
You
can't even name him. You can't even name him.
You're right. I can't because he was behind
because
Curtis
he
Samuel,
wasn't
for sure.
Curtis Samuel is a running back. He still is.
You know, here's the problem with Noah Brown.
He's
went
not
to
good
Dallas.
at football.
No, he went to Dallas. And they have such a fascination. We're completely off track here, but they have such a fascination.
Hey,
with,
Noah
Terrence
is
Williams.
never off track. Noah is always a good subject.
We talk about the Bills and Noah Brown way too much.
Who would you rather talk about?
Anything but the two of them.
Fine.
Who's what number are we at?
7.
We're at 7 because
what's your checklist say?
my checklist says all 4 of us have said 6, and so now we're going to move to Matt. Matt, who's your number 7?
I have Fournette at 7.
Check. Do you have anything you want to say about Fournette?
I think that his numbers are skewed off a couple long runs. 165 of his yards were 2 runs, one against the Steelers and one against the Rams.
Wasn't the Steelers one like a
90-yard
93? Okay. Yeah, that's
He was benched last week in the 2-minute drill. Obviously, he doesn't catch passes, but he was benched in DJ Yeldon. I think there's something to be said from that. Obviously, I don't think he has the full trust of Doug Marrone yet. He hasn't played well the last couple weeks, and the 2 weeks that Leonard Fournette wasn't there, the Jaguars set the record for the most yards gained in 2 weeks.
Ooh, that's a fun stat. I'm gonna tweet that later. And that's going to give me 5 points. So like I'm already back up to the lead here.
So you just mentioned Fournette being taken out in the 2-minute drill, and I think a lot of that is his pass blocking. And
I agree with you with that.
We see that with a lot of rookie running backs, but that is something that Zach and I noticed going through film last year with Fournette was he is not a great blocker yet. I think he has taken some improvement with that throughout the season here, but guys like Yeldon and Ivory are clearly better pass blockers at this stage in their career. So I think there's a lot of that. That doesn't concern me long term. I'm just gonna keep standing up for Fournette.
That's fine. And I don't think you're 100% wrong. I just have a few reservations. That's all.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair. Zach, who's your running back 7?
This is kind of a weird area for me. There's a big teardrop here, and I've got 3 guys who are kind of hit or miss. I mean, take or leave. And I think that I'm going to shake out and put Melvin Gordon here, but I'm not going to like it. And the reason why I'm putting Melvin Gordon here is because, like it or not, he's a bell cow. And he's getting everything there is in Los Angeles. And he has
point.
Yeah, there you go. I'm back ahead. And he has for the last couple of years. And right now he's on pace for over 100 targets. And he's also on pace for over 1,000 yards. And that is consistent with what he's done. And so I don't like it. But he's here. This is where I've got him.
But yet he was passed over last week for a guy that no one's ever heard of until last week.
Yeah, but I think there's more to that, and we talked a little bit about it on the pod last night. But I think that you're going to find out that there's something injury related. That he's a little banged up.
The foot hasn't bothering him, but he also broke off an 83-yard run last week against the Giants too.
Yeah, so. it was an ugly 83-yard run.
Yeah,
but yes, and he broke one off against the Patriots too. I'm pretty sure, and it was ugly, and so
that's who it was against the Patriots.
Yeah, and so like I don't think that. While Eckler, well, that's great. I mean, he had a great week, and he's a guy to keep on your radar. I'm not worried about Melvin Gordon long term. I think he's banged up, and so I think that he, as much as he's a mediocre or a slightly above average running back, he's going to be the bell cow, and there aren't very many of those.
Are you concerned at all that they may bring in somebody to spell him for next season?
No, because
No.
I think he's proven that he can do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Riley, you and I talked about that through text message, and I'm just not worried about that at all.
We
They still
did,
have
and
too much invested in him.
No, I 100% agree, but I mean, we see it all the time. They bring in. I think a lot of teams bring in just another, like a second option to spell and kind of take some carries away. And I think it's
So
a
you're
real
talking about
possibility.
maybe like a someone like a Gio Bernard type or a Chris Thompson type that catches passes but can take some carries too. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, 100%. So Kyle, who's your number 7?
My number 7 is Kareem Hunt, and I'm actually really disappointed that I'm taking him above you, Zach. I don't know how that happened.
That's next. Coming.
Okay, so it's Barkley. I just don't have Barkley up there yet. I mean, look, I have my reservations with him, but he has flashed some stuff that's pretty impressive, and he's in that Andy Reid offense, which has always been a plus for running backs. He's got a good team around him, so you don't have some of those scary things like you do with some of the other guys. He's perfectly clean right now, so he doesn't have any suspensions lingering over his head like a Zeke. So yeah, give me Kareem Hunt here, and I feel dirty for taking him before you, Zach.
Well, hey, no, that's Kareem's my number 7. So
That makes me
I
feel
don't have to
better.
say much. I don't have to say much about it, but I love him. I think he's going to be fantastic for years to come, and I have no worries about him being number 7. So now we're moving to number 8. See how smooth that was?
Look at you, buddy. Look at you.
I know I'm doing a good job.
You get a treat after the pod.
Heck yeah. we'll pick this up a little bit. We're lagging on timer, so we'll kind of do a rapid fire here from 8 on, and we'll just go right down the line. I'll start with my number 8. Mine's Melvin Gordon. Yeah, I said rapid fire. Kyle, Kyle, you're next. Who's your number 8?
Give me Devontae Freeman here. I still think he's a very impressive running back, and he's been dropping down in a lot of rankings here, but I think he still is very impressive in that offense, and I just love the way he cuts and does that little jump cut. So
I like it.
Yep, Matt, who's your number 8?
I have Hunt at 8.
Hunt at 8. Gotcha.
Yep.
You have anything you want to say about him?
Not really.
Cool. Zach,
Good player.
Kareem Hunt,
All right.
point for Matt.
point for Matt and point for Zach. All right, and we're gonna snake this. Zach, who's your number 9?
My number 9 is Freeman.
Freeman, cool. Next, Matt.
Look at that. Freeman for me as well.
No way. Just stop me if you want to say anything about it. I'm killing Kyle over here. I gotta tell you. So I'm gonna take a 10-second plug. My host skills are subpar, but one of the best hosts out there in the Dynasty fantasy community is Mr. Kyle,
I thought you were going to
Uncle
say
Kyle.
me.
Daddy Kyle, whatever you want to call him.
Whoa.
don't
He
call
is
me
one of the-
daddy.
We'll stick to
Riley, could he be your father?
Actually, I
Kyle.
probably am.
Flash me how old you are on the screen, and we'll decide this.
He answers to the name Kayla occasionally.
I do not answer
Okay.
to Kayla. But you
So
know,
if he said 34, then it's pushing it because he'd have to have been like 15.
Yeah.
So,
I'm in
That's
Maine.
all right,
Maybe.
son. That's all right, son. I got you.
all right, cool.
Riley, I gotta give you a plug there. You saw that I was just cracking up, and you took that moment to give me a second to get myself back together. So you're getting
Hey,
there, man. You're getting there.
Point for myself.
Point for yourself.
So
I'm
according to
guessing
my- it's your turn, Kyle.
it's my turn. All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put Barkley here. I'm not as ready to throw him up in that upper tier as everyone else, but I mean the kid's talented, so he's there.
If I had a shame bell, I would ring it right now.
So you want me to take a point away?
No, you can leave him go. He's entitled to his opinion.
I
Okay.
was also the guy that fought putting Zeke up in the upper tier in his rookie year. Well, pre-rookie year.
So just real quick, so we can.
Samaje says what?
Yeah, freaking P. Ryan. So Kyle, real quick, what did you like about Zeke that you don't like about Barkley?
No, I fought putting Zeke.
Okay.
Yeah,
Zach
we
and
had
I
that.
fought
We
for
went back and forth on that.
many
Okay.
hours about
Okay.
that. Because you know what it was? It was the Zeke versus Dez conversation. Because a lot of places had Zeke ahead of Dez in their overall rankings, and I was not willing to do that pre him hitting the field.
Okay.
Yep, that's fair. My number 9 is Fournette, and I just not
Shame
yet,
on you.
not
Yeah.
yet,
Little low.
not yet for me. But hey, I'm entitled to my opinion, even though
No,
it may
you're
be
not.
wrong. Even though it may be wrong, it's still mine. So let's see. We'll check that, and we're moving on to number 10. My number 10 is Devonta Freeman, and this is almost a tier break for me, but Freeman's my 10. He's still solid. He's good. Kyle, who's your number 10?
My number 10 here is Mixon. I know we haven't seen everything on the field yet, but he gets special, and he does need a better offensive line in front of him. But I think once that team starts to come together in front of him, yeah.
Yep. No, I like that. I like that a lot. Matt, who's your number 10?
I have Gordon at 10.
You're a little low there.
No, I'm not.
I'm kidding.
You may notice I
Zach-
haven't mentioned Gordon yet.
Oh shit. Whatever. You're lower. That's a point away. Kyle's losing points. Zach's racking them up.
I'm
Zach?
gonna rack them up one more time because I do not have Leonard Fournette in my top 10. At 10 right now on my list, because I got bumped out with the Saquon Barkley pick. My 10 is Christian Alvin McCamara. Because I'm big on McCaffrey and Kamara at 9-10 without the Barkley in there. Give me all the McCaffrey. They still haven't figured out even how to use him yet in Carolina, and he's the number 9 PPR back. I mean, he had 64 touches coming into last week and was the 13 overall PPR back. 64 touches. Like, the guy is legit. Kamara, same thing. I mean, he's a receiving back with bell cow upside. Both of them, I love it. I love
Well,
them.
we're snaking it right here. So McCaffrey 10, Kamara 11, or
Yep.
interchangeable.
Oh, we keep
Okay.
going. No, McCaffrey 10, Kamara 11. I got him.
Zach
right.
didn't pay attention to the pre-show and didn't realize we were going to 12, not just 10.
Oh, I
doesn't
can't
like-
even count.
He doesn't like to listen, man. He doesn't like to listen.
We're up here in Maine. We speak French. You gotta no.
So
To be fair-
you didn't have to combine them. I'm just
Je ne parle pas français. Je suis un pamplemousse.
9.
9. We're slightly east of France now. Sorry, I'm the
Well,
outtake guy. Let's go.
I was just gonna say it's not all your fault because I did give you guys a solid 15-minute heads up on what we were talking about.
I thought we were doing a rookie draft. What happened?
Yeah, me too.
I'll take Barkley.
Yeah, so we'll get to that eventually here in a few months. Yeah, so Matt, we're up to you at 11.
I have half of Zach's pick, and I have Kamara at 11. Over McCaffrey. I like his between the tackle ability just a little more than McCaffrey, even though I think they both have been explosive. I think I like Kamara's running ability just a little more.
Yep, I like it. Kyle, who's your 11?
I'll finally take Melvin Gordon here. I'm not as sold on him as everyone else, but I do still appreciate the talent there. So give me him at 11.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have Kamara at 11. Kamara's got, I think he's got better burst. He's got a little bit more power to him than McCaffrey does. Excuse me. And I'm feeling Kamara. Sean Payton loves him. I don't know. It's a perfect fit. I was all over him before the draft, and he was one of my only solid hits this year. I had him pretty high early on. Still waiting on Noah. But anyways,
Me too.
I'll jump to my number 12 as my last one. I have Carlos Hyde at number 12. I don't care what people say. I think he's a great runner. If he finds a new home, great. Then he's going to run the ball. He can catch. His pass protection's gotten better over the last couple of years. I love Hyde. I think he's a very, very good value. So if nobody has any objections, we'll jump to Kyle at number 12.
Bold, but I like it. I have Kamara Ajayi. Just gonna pull a little bit of a Zach there. No, it's a tough decision there between the two of them for me, but I'm gonna give the edge to Kamara and take him at 12.
Gotcha. Matt, you're at 12.
McCaffrey at 12. I wanted to put Ajayi in there, but I just couldn't do it. I'm just still worried about. Did you guys see that? I don't know who was talking about it, but I saw it on Twitter the other day. They were talking about Ajayi's gait when he was making that long run.
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
his legs just look all sorts of funky. And I hadn't been concerned about it until then, but that just like made me like take a second look and maybe just like maybe this knee thing is a little more severe than we think it is. And I don't know, it just gave me pause. It just gave me cause for concern.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely is the reason to be hesitant on Ajayi. He's in a great offense now. We've seen a number of flashes, but the knee is the scary part.
I gotcha. And according to my checklist, we've got one more. Zach, who is your last guy at 12?
Can we just skip me at the end so I don't have to say Leonard Fournette?
Say it.
No, hey, technically he can be your 13, so you can not even say him because we're not
Perfect.
going to 13.
Yeah, we'll leave him there then.
Then who's your 12?
No, I got Fournette 12. I do. I think that the volume's going to be there. So that's my first back who doesn't catch the ball prolifically. That
He
I've
does
got in
catch
there.
the ball.
Not Kyle. No.
Yes. Yes.
No.
Yes.
False narrative. Fake news. Fake news.
I got you. So that kind of wraps up. That kind of wraps up our top 12 backs. Do you guys have any final thoughts about any players in the top 12? Any guys that you're particularly worried about that could potentially slip out of the top 12 in the next year or two?
Freeman would be my big concern, just because he has another quality back behind him.
Oh, I love Coleman. I think Coleman's I think Coleman may be a better overall running back than Freeman is. I think he's better all around. I think he's more explosive. I'm a huge Coleman fan. But they did extend Freeman, so
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Coleman as well, but I'd be surprised if he ends up staying there. I think he's a good backup right now because he's on a rookie contract, and you don't carry two of those guys on a full blown contract. So he probably walks away after his rookie contract there.
no, yeah, I 100% agree. I don't think they can find the cap space to keep both he and Freeman on big contracts. I don't think they can do that at all. But I brought that question up because I don't think Gordon. I think he has there's a decent chance he slips out. I don't know. I liked Gordon, and then I watched the tape and I started watching him. I don't know if he can keep it up, even though he's getting all the volume. Like Matt referenced earlier, I actually just moved my last share of him. Granted, I am rebuilding. I got Corey Coleman and Josh Dawson back for Gordon, banking on one of the two hitting, but I was pleased with it. So I don't know. I could very well see Gordon slipping.
Can I steal this real quick?
Absolutely.
To me, the thing that we're missing and the thing that a lot of people miss is all running backs are super volatile. And so, yeah, we're doing this in a vacuum where we got our top 12 running backs. But when I'm looking at things in a dynasty context, aside from the top three that we talked about, and we were pretty well consensus on that, although the order was different, but Gurley and Johnson and Bell, beyond that, I'm not even thinking about those guys in the first round. I'm of a startup. I'm pounding receiver, and and even if I'm trading in season, I'm trading for proven receivers. And then when I get to a rookie draft, I'll pepper and try to grab running backs because they're so volatile and you talk about Le'Veon Bell being Pittsburgh's guy, their franchise, but he really is replaceable, even though he's the best running back in the NFL. You could throw someone in there and get 85% of Le'Veon Bell and still win games in an NFL context. And so that's what I'm doing in Dynasty is I'm trading for receivers who are proven, and I'm drafting running backs with pass catching upside who have potential to be bell cows. And so that's what I'm looking at. And so in a vacuum, yeah, this is great, top 12. But the functionality with what your team looks like in that landscape, it could be totally different.
Yeah, just because a lot of it can change very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And plus, take this year's rookie draft, for example. Take 2017. You could have gotten a guy like Kareem Hunt at 203. And instantly it's like you took that running back in a top 2.
Or you could have traded
round.
out of him and gotten Marlon Mack. I mean, that could happen too.
Right.
Or you could have traded out of him and gotten Jeremy McNichols.
Ooh. Hey, what about so I heard something that brought up a thought. You said that something about Le'Veon Bell being, I thought James Conner was the best running back in Pittsburgh, according to one of you.
He is the best running back in Pittsburgh.
Not it.
Oh. That was Kyle's. That was Kyle's thing.
What Zach just said, though, is exactly why James Conner is going to be in the top 12 next year. You can take any running back and drop him into Pittsburgh, and he's going to be a great running back. So there you go.
Talk about no pass catching ability.
Oh no, he can catch. He can catch.
Well, I'm going to stick up for Connor. I think he can catch just as well as Fournette can.
Yes.
And that's like hard for me to say because I hate both of them.
To quote Riley Bymaster, roll credits.
Roll the credits.
Riley, I used to like you.
Oh man. All right, I think that's a good spot to wrap up the show.
Wait, so Riley, I wanted to add one more thing.
Okay.
I was talking with
Matt,
you, Brett, about real quick.
Yeah,
Just real quick. Just to give me a minute. So can we just stop treating 2019 first like they're 2018 thirds? Like people were doing this last year when 2017 was the next big thing, and 2018 picks were garbage, and they're just throw-ins. Just stop. There's going to be great players available, and the top of just like there is every year in the 2019 class. So if you can get it, if people are treating them like garbage, take them.
Keep this to yourself. What you do is you trade one of these running backs in the mid-tier for a 2018 second and a 2019 first, and then you just made out. I mean, that's,
so Matt, are you telling me that I should trade Leonard Fournette for a 2019 first?
Now you're just using now you're just being crazy.
I'm kidding. No, but my mindset behind it is I see a 2019 first as a 2018 second.
No, it's still a first round pick. That's not true.
You would just have to wait so much longer.
But I don't care. It's still a first round pick.
But you have longer to recoup the value that you give up.
But that's fine. But is it a first round pick or not?
Sure.
There you go.
It is a first round pick. It is, but I'm just saying, would you rather have $15 now or $20 next year?
I'd rather have $20 next year.
Riley, this is where those economics classes come in. So
yeah.
I'm just saying,
I'm gonna let that 2019 first mature, and I'm gonna either get a better player or I'm gonna sell it when the time gets closer, when the value's higher. It's called assets. You want to buy assets when they're low and sell when they're high.
Wait, is that what that thing they keep talking about in college? Assets and liabilities and owner's equity? Is that what that is?
Yes.
I think that's accounting. No, but it's not. I'm not saying I don't.
We talked about different assets when I was in college.
I know that. I know. I was making a joke.
Me too.
I'm not saying I don't want the 19 first. I'm just saying you can't treat them exactly like a 2018 first right now.
Why can't you?
Because they're still
2 years away. I mean,
they're allotted.
They're 2 years away.
So you can't treat it just like a 2018 first, but you can treat it like a late 2018 first. I think that's
fine.
Everyone drops it into the second. I think really the value should be in the late range. as a little more of an accurate, because it still is a first.
Because it's a random first, and
It's
Kyle, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
It's a random first, but don't treat it like it's when you could be getting the 101 in 2019.
Right, because so much can change from now to then that this guy might flip his team in half a season.
Yeah.
It's almost like pick 113 in a 12 team.
The supplemental pick.
Yeah, it's not really a second round pick, but it's not full first round value.
Well, but the thing, like, I love Matt. I love that you're thinking about this, and I love that you've noticed this kind of iniquity in the market. Use that, because people don't value them. I mean, that's we do a kind of a rebuild show, and that's kind of my MO is when I start to rebuild, I look 2 years out, and nobody pays attention to those, and so I'll start making trades where I'll pick up a second now or a third now, but I'll get a first for 2 years out. And I'll do that 2 or 3 times, and all of a sudden I've got half the first round in a draft. And so now I've either got the opportunity to sell some of those when they're valuable or make those picks. And so kind of leverage that. I mean, I totally agree with you that they're valuable, but you can see the value sometimes that other people can't. Use that to your advantage.
Yeah.
And then you just crush them. That's where I'm headed. Just crush them.
Just crush them. All right. So Matt, are you good? Did you finally get the rant off your chest?
I'm good.
All right, you're good. So I think that is a good spot to wrap up the show. Oh, I knew it was coming.
I feel like I didn't rant about anything. I'm like racking my brain trying to think if I have any.
Hey, bring it. Let's hear it. What about my
That's it. That's all I got.
Fournette?
Shout out to Brett for making a 20-minute rant about Jordan Matthews 2 weeks, like 3 weeks ago.
Luckily,
my
no
kids
one
loved that though on the walk.
No one heard that because I don't think that one got published.
Didn't get published.
That was the 7.1.
That was 7.1.
Not the 7.2.
Yeah. Oh man. All right, we just want to give a very special thanks to Kyle and Zach for coming on tonight and talking with us. If you don't, which you probably should be, you need to go listen to the Dynasty Dummies pod. Give them a rate and review, and if you listen to the show, you might even have a chance to win a t-shirt. I strongly recommend it. They're comfortable. They fit well. It's even airy. I played some mediocre basketball in it last week, and I got to tell you, I went 3 of 14 from the field.
So it's an improvement.
It is an improvement, and that says a lot. So give them a rate and review, win a t-shirt while gaining lots of fruitful knowledge about Dynasty and about how James Conner is the GOAT.
Yeah, buddy.
So why don't Kyle and Zach kind of tell the people where everybody can find you, and plug your show's handle in there too.
Yeah, so you can find me at Caleb Reck over on Twitter. The show is at Dynasty Dummies. We also have a website that doesn't get a lot of traffic right now, but we're working on that. But you can check that out at dynastydummies.com. One of these days I'm going to convince Riley to write something and put it on there.
I'll do it.
And I am at Tacit Assassin 13, and I'm pretty much the outtake guy over at the Dummies.
Wait, did you say Tackett Assassin?
Yeah, very similar. Very similar.
Same spelling.
Tacit, T-A-C-I-T.
Okay, gotcha.
Assassin, yeah. Yeah.
Sounds good. And right before we leave, I just want to give this guy on Twitter a quick shout out. His name is Jesse Fritsch. I hope I'm saying that right. He has put out the draft databases for 2018 and 2019. It's an online Google Doc. You click on it, and he has got literally every single player on planet Earth with colleges, heights, weights, and then if he's watched film and written a report on it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's tremendous.
Go find him on Twitter. I retweeted it. It should be on my Twitter line. That's going to be a great resource. I know I'm going to look at it while I watch tape, while I'm doing rankings. So props to him. I mean, that looks like it took hours and days and weeks to compose, and he did it. So props to him. So with that, give us a rate and review. We'd strongly appreciate it. We're looking for review number 4. We need them. It helps everything. And, if we have somebody who leaves us a nice one, you might even get a chance to come on and talk some Dynasty with us. So follow our pod account at the 3 Cone Pod. You can follow Matt at Fat Mormon, and you can follow our invisible host tonight, Brett, at Dynasty Brett. And if you want to follow me, do it at DTC_Riley B. So thank you for listening. Have a great week, and we will see you next time.
Doodles.